Okay, so this time on Mount Battle, we'll be venturing into the very heart of the volcano itself, hopefully. Yes, we are. Good. I think I've made that reference at least once, though. This guy's Pokemon are even worse than the last area. What's going on here? Well, at least you have a change in music, though. That's good. Weird thing is, the first area of Mount Battle in story mode used the Rider Willy battle theme, but they didn't here. It just started straight from the normal battle theme. Yeah, it's kind of nice having a change in music. But anyway, I probably want to... Yeah, I can do... Okay, good, didn't miss there. And I got a crit. That was definitely unnecessary. Yeah, Houndour and Houndoom have very similar animations. Some people think that the animations might have actually just been ported over between the two of them. I guess that kind of makes sense. I'm not really sure how, like, 3D models work. It's weird, I just got a Norton thing saying high CPU usage alert, Elgato Game Capture HD. So it acknowledges that, and yet it still thinks my computer is idle when I'm using it. It's weird. Anyway, okay, the Intimidate's probably not that good against Kickface, although I have a feeling that I might still one-shot the Snubble anyway. Random trivia, Snubble was misspelled as S-N-U-B-B-L-E, or something like that, in its, random, like, movie preview trading card that it got. Like, it wasn't actually an official Pokemon card, it was like just a random card that it got for the movie. Those were also the cards that, called Marill Pickablue, which sparked mass debates for the playground over. I actually remember the days of Pickablue and Poker Gods and things like that. Okay then. This trainer's name is Lunda. Like Linda, only macho, I guess? Anyway. Kecleon and Spinda. Well, I'm glad I brought a certain someone to this fight, even though neither of these Pokemon are a particularly big priority. And yeah, that Spinda definitely does have different spots than the other Spindas I've seen in this playthrough, so they must take that into account with the models. Wonder how much, like, memory space it takes to do the whole Spinda thing. Like, store all of its possible spot variations. I know it's based off of its personality value, which for those who don't know is this enormous number that every Pokemon that ever exists is given. Bits of that number are used to determine things like IVs, gender, nature, I think nature, and ability, but more in the way that abilities are divided into, like, slot 1, slot 2, and hidden ability, which didn't exist at this point. And basically, a Pokemon will... I'll talk about that probably when I get to XD, because changing abilities can sometimes be relevant there, but basically Pokemon that originally only had one ability in Gen 3 and gained an extra ability in Gen 4, like Poochyena for example, that here it only had Runaway, and in Gen 4 it gained Quick Feet. So if you transfer a Poochyena that had Runaway from Gen 3 to Gen 4, normally it won't really, like, have much of an effect. You can lose muscles by losing a Pokemon battle? Huh. I don't know, it probably meant that, like, you know, like, losing as in losing the battle, and so it's like, winning muscles, losing muscles. This team is kind of all over the place, but I think these two will be able to handle it. Tark. That's actually kind of a cool sounding name. Okay, I'm glad you led with that. That's actually the best thing on his team, so I want to Fire Blast that early. That's 2 people here have used Talos. Or at least 2 people in this recording session. I've already forgotten what the earlier trainers in this area were using. Let's just Fire Blast that, and let's, like, I used to call Blossom just, I know that it's Bellossom. Sometimes I just call it straight up Blossom. I used to call it... that's what I used to call it when I was younger. Well, I mean, people thought it was Pickabud originally. I don't know how many people know about Pickabud. Because Pickablue is fairly universally known, but Pickabud, not so much. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but it's funny how... I find it funny how Blossom's Japanese name is literally a pretty flower. Kirei Hanna. Or Was it Kirei-bana? No, I think it's Kirei-hana. And then Gloom is Kusai-hana or bana, so literally smelly flower. Now I'm trying to remember what Oddish is. Oh no, yeah, Oddish is Nazo no Kusa, which is literally mysterious grass. Again, they weren't really that creative with Japanese names in Pokemon Gen 1. And that's not so much Sweet Kiss as it is Sweet Wave. Sounds like a surfer. Sweet waves, dude! I'm just gonna return. No use risking Fire Blast missing here, because Togepi... I mean, I'm not sure exactly what Togepi's stats are, but they're probably really, really low. And its fading animation is still hilarious, yet sad at the same time. It's like, I didn't want to do this. No, you sound like a Nugget Bridge trainer, but you got the quote slightly wrong. I still find it funny how the Nugget Bridge trainers all said, I did my best, I have no regrets. Like, all of them say the exact same thing. Oh, hey, it's a teacher. Well, I know this is the second Kecleon in this area. Let's just see if she uses it. Also, your name sounds kinda like an Elite Four Dragon user. It's still funny how I mispronounced Drasna as Dranza for the longest time. Like, it took me ages to figure out that it was actually Drasna, not Dranza. I don't know why I do that sometimes. I just... In my head, I rearrange a few of the words in people's names sometimes. But I mean, that's no excuse for me calling Suicune Sunarcane when I was younger. Even though its actual pronunciation is, I guess, kind of difficult. Especially for a child that age. And there is Seeking. A Pokemon that's, not really... I think I remember there was one Smocket analysis on Seeking that when it said, in the other options section, it said any other water type not named Love Disc or Lumineon. Although something tells me Lumineon, however you want to say it, got better in another generation, but I forget exactly. I still don't know why Goldeen and Seeking learn Peck. I mean, I know it's, like, I think Nidoran learns it, so it's kind of like supposed to be a horn thing, but I've never really heard of hitting something with a horn being referred to as pecking. Although I guess a beak is kind of like a horn in some respects. Now I'm thinking about how I actually have... See, there's Peck! But yeah, I've actually been pecked on the head by a bird once when I was a kid. Yeah, they get very aggressive during nesting season. It's magpies I'm talking about. I think magpies are native to Australia, but... They're interesting. Apparently they can learn to recognize faces, so if you can, like, show them that you're no threat to them, they'll remember that, and if you come through the area next time, they won't attack you, but... I was only ever in that park once, so they never got a chance to do that, and yeah, that was bad. Well, at least that's a pretty funny line. Now listen up, class, I'm going to teach you how to lose. Step 1. Use Magikarp with only Splash. Step 2. Use Love Disc. Step 3. Use Self-Destruct or Explosion with your last Pokemon. And other witty things that I could come up with. Okay, you got a lot of Dark types. Please tell me that I led with Kick Face here, although I'm definitely going to get intimidated. I was about to say that I'm probably going to get intimidated, then I realized, oh wait, Mighty Etter only has one ability in this gen, so it's always Intimidate. I think I got interrupted when I was talking about the whole ability thing earlier, so I guess I'll... Okay, 4 times a week there, I can go for that. So I guess I'll mention here that... I guess things are starting to outspeed us a little bit. Gotta watch that later on, because later on my lack of EV training is going to become very, very apparent, and that's going to mean that I'm going to need to be very careful. Anyway, abilities, so... Like, remember how I mentioned nothing about Poochyena? So if it's transferred to a later generation, if it's a Poochyena just on its own, and you keep it that way, it's not really going to change things. But if it evolves into Mightyena, there's a chance that its ability might change into Quick Feet. Because... the way they calculate it is based on a specific part of a Pokemon's personality value, And if you're on the personality value that corresponds to the second ability slot, that doesn't mean anything in Gen 3 when you only have one ability slot. Well, for Pokemon that specifically only have one ability slot, that doesn't matter, because, like, no matter which slot that it falls under, a Poochyena will always have Runaway in Gen 3. In Gen 4, that Poochyena could potentially have either Runaway or Quick Feet, depending on which ability slot that its personality value falls under. Uh-oh, who's losing their item? Well, I guess I have slightly weaker serves. That's not really going to affect me very much. So basically, the ability is recalculated when a Pokemon evolves, which makes sense because some Pokemon change abilities on evolution, like how Poochyena's Runaway turns into Intimidate if it's in ability slot 1. And in Generation 3, that's the only ability that it has. But in Gen 4, it has access to 2 abilities, so if its ability slot happens to fall under the second one, it will turn into Quick Feet when it evolves. Anyway, I hope that explanation made sense, because that's going to be important in XD if you want to transfer some Pokemon further forward. That actually does not happen in Gens 6 and 7, I think. I think in Gen 6 and 7, from what I've read on Bulbapedia, a Pokemon will always keep its ability on evolution, regardless of what ability slot it actually falls under, so that's definitely a good thing if you have a Pokemon that you really don't want to change ability. Although, anyway, the ability capsule exists regardless, and it's funny, I found the ability capsule almost impossible to get in Gen 5. I think it was introduced in Gen 5. Great, I don't have anything that you can hit, so I suppose I'll just... Oh yeah, I taught Jump off a track, by the way. Thought that it'd be overall more useful than... What was the move that I had there? Oh, Cotton Spore. Yeah, I had a feeling that it would be a bit more useful than Cotton Spore overall. So, this is probably the most productive thing that I can do at this point. Also, unless Spoink is really good at sleepwalking, shouldn't it die if it's put to sleep? Anyway, I don't want to go into disturbing details like that. That Caclea is definitely gone. But yeah, I find the ability capsule a lot easier to get in later gens, just because you get battle points after every individual battle, rather than after every streak of 7. So even if you lose, you still get some BP. I don't know, I've been able to just grind up hundreds of BP in both Battle Maison and Battle Tree. It's weird, I always hear people complaining about the Battle Tree, but I've never found the Battle Tree that difficult. Like, to me, I found the Battle Tree one of the most balanced battle facilities in the series. I've never really had any major problems there. And yet, a lot of people say it's just incredibly cheap. But I found the Battle Maison far worse in that regard. And even the Battle Maison, like, they don't use evasion spam as much as they used to. And they don't use hacks items as much as they used to either. So, yeah, anyway. This is not quite the Pokemon that I want out here, though. You know what? I'm gonna switch Jumpluff out, just in case you go for a big fire attack, because I want to maintain my perfect win rate for as long as possible. Anyway, I don't know. It's just kind of weird, like even among people who use EV trained Pokemon, I've heard a lot of bad things about the Battle Tree, but it's always been fine to me. I mean, I was just, like, I had a plane flight recently, and I was playing a bit of Battle Tree while I was waiting for the plane, and I just managed to get through 10 battles pretty simply, not really that much, though I did fight Grimsley at the end, and, in my head I was trying to think about, how I could do a variant on King Dice's song for Grimsley. But, anyway. And that's probably Torkoal gone. Yes, it is. Torkoal, his Japanese name, kind of interesting. It's Kortasu, which is probably from coal and tortoise, but it also probably references the Kotatsu, which is a kind of heater they have in Japan. It's like Glalie, how it's Onigori, which is Demon Goalie, but it also sounds like Onigiri. Okay, this trainer's team is kind of interesting, as is her way of speaking. Also, hi, I'm Deezy, I guess. She has some, like, she has a Ninjask, but the rest of her Pokemon are kind of not that amazing. You know, I was about to say something, I probably shouldn't, but, you know, I'll say it anyway, because otherwise you'd never know. I'm surprised I haven't had any Bright Powder misses or Lax Incense misses so far. I really should not have said that. Although, I mean, as far as I know, some of my Fire Blast misses may have been due to that. Okay, let's just quickly squash... Or it could use Quick Attack and still get an attack off. I was thinking about that because I was wondering if this Pikachu had a Light Ball or not. Because all of the trainers do have items here. So I was kind of starting to think, okay, items, maybe some of them have Bright Powder or Lax Incense. Pikachu looks sad there, but I don't care because Pikachu is an evil, evil abomination. And nice one-shot there. And nice, both Pokemon currently on the field, weak to fire there. Actually, though, I'm just going to go ahead and do this just because I'm worried about a potential Silver win from Ninjask. So let's get that Ninjask off the... Or you could just use Screech. Well, I guess the Protect still did something. And the Ninjask is gone. You probably should have led with that. You could have bat and passed to some things. Yeah, Ninjask was pretty fun to use as a bat and pass user back in... Oh, hey, nice. I predicted a double target accidentally. But it was pretty fun to use, and then Scolipede came along and basically did everything that Ninjask could do better. I was just thinking for a second, didn't something about Scolipede get banned in Smallville or something like that? I don't know, but... it was very good at bat passing. Yoda, we speak like. I mean, I don't know, there are just a couple of decent lines from these trainers, I guess, and they just sort of stand out amidst all of the really boring generic ones, like this! See, again, this guy has, like, part of a good team, but not the rest. Like, he has a Wailord and, like, Pinsir, but then he has things like Anorith. It's kind of funny, like, the trainers here are starting to get, like, half decent, I suppose. But anyway, I can understand why the dialogue from these trainers is not all that interesting overall. It's like, you know, I mean, they probably focus more on writing the actual story mode dialogue than the dialogue for here, because really this place is all about the battles, and every trainer only has 2 lines. I guess they have a line if they beat you too, I'm not sure. I know that the trainers in the Colosseums have a line if they beat you. Oh yeah, he has a Claydol too. Because I know, because I've seen the 1-hit KO guy, he says like, 1-hit KO! Whenever he wins, and that always annoyed me because I lost to him way more times than I really should have. Oh wow, nice surviving a crit there. And yeah, you see like Psyduck, it's weird, he's got like half a team of decent Pokemon, and then half a team of things like that. Guess Psyduck was originally supposed to be a Shadow Pokemon in this game, which is kind of funny because it does appear in Gen 3, so not really sure why it was necessary to have one. It's, I don't know, it's like, Golduck is a Pokemon that I've never really used in any main storyline. It feels like its stats are just kind of average all round, but, like, I've heard, I think it got a good review on Mariland's Guide to Black and White 2, although I guess you can get Psyduck very, very early in that one. It's nothing compared to how the sheer ridiculousness of getting Riolu that early. And it's a happiness evolution too, so you can just run around in circles and theoretically get one right before the first gym. Research kind of reminds me of the whole create a Pokemon thing. Or CAP. That was kind of interesting. But they rarely turn out the way that they expect. Like, I think the first one, the Bug Ice, they thought that it was going to be a Garchomp counter, and then it was like, yeah, no, 4 times weak to Rock was not good for that. Even they gave it an ability that reduces the damage it takes from Stealth Rock, specifically because of that, it still wasn't that amazing. And then some of them end up being a bit too good. Like, I think Krillawatt, I mean, its stats were kind of average all round, but it had Magic Guard, and it had an enormously large move pool, and I think they had to nerf its move pool, because, like, it just proved to be way too good. Like, much, much better than they expected. And then it was funny, I think the only cap of, the Smog and Creator Pokemon, for those wondering, the only one of them that actually proved to do what it was supposed to, or at least, like, be the closest possible to, like, how it was envisioned, was Voodoo. And it was funny because it was actually... So, like, it was designed to take a decent but not that common OU Pokemon. Like, a Pokemon that in OU was still OU, but it wasn't considered that fantastic compared to some of the other options. And the idea was to create a great partner for it that would make it a lot better in OU. And the original idea was to create a partner for Togekiss. And Voodoo failed at being a partner for Togekiss, but it ended up being a great partner for Zapdos. So they're like, okay, technically speaking, it succeeded in our original design vision, but not in the way we expected. So that's kind of funny. Guess the one thing that the Creator Pokemon project shows is that you can never really predict how a Pokemon will perform in competitive. Usually. I mean, people were spot on about Garchomp being amazing in Gen 4. I mean, they thought that it'd be... They didn't quite realize it would be as good as it was. Here's another one of those half of a good team trainers, kind of fitting for the area leader. She's got, like, some decent Pokemon, but then she also has Phanpy. But she has some things like Relicanth and Ninetales. So yeah, what I was talking about when it comes to, because I remember back in Gen 4, everyone was predicting that Electivire and Rhyperior, especially Rhyperior got a lot of hype. And then people realized that Solid Rock wasn't nearly as good as they thought. Like, it still helps, but it's nowhere near as... It still tends to go down to grass and water moves. I mean, Rhyperior was still decent, it just wasn't anywhere near as completely overpowered as they thought it would be. Same with Electivire. Everyone thought that Electivire would be ridiculously good. It has a great move pool, but it suffered from most of its moves just having really low power. Oh, wasn't there? Like, there was data in the games for... Yeah, that's not... You know what? I thought you'd do that. I was like, okay, the moment that I saw Sunny Day, I was like, the Relicanth is going to use Rain Dance, isn't it? So... Yeah, the AI is not all that smart sometimes in this game. Although that Ninetales is very fast, and I don't know if I'll be able to actually get rid of it before it can set up Sun again. Even if it does set up Sun, it'll be wasting its turn. Come on, let's see if I can... No, you're going to set up Sun again, aren't you? Well, I guess I know what ability you have. That means you're going to be taking Recall here, because it's either Swift Swim or Rock Head. Pretty sure Relicanth gets Head Smash in a later generation. Sun season, rain season, sun season, rain season. Just like that trainer back in Story Mode Map Battle Area 10. But what I was saying was... There was data, I think, in Gen 4 for an Electivire Volt Tackle event. And Electivire would have been great with Volt Tackle, but sadly it was not to be. Didn't end up getting released ever. I mean, Gen 5 gave it Wild Charge, but that still wasn't that amazing. Really? Of all the things you have, you use the Phanpy, really? Like I said, the AI is not all that smart in this game. I am going to go ahead and switch out and see if I can exploit the Sun a bit here. Also, I'm just going to go and Psychic that Phanpy, although 180 HP is not bad for an unevolved Pokemon, at least at this level. Yeah, I mostly remember the level 50 stats of Pokemon, not the level 100 stats, because that's the level that I usually play at. And Pokemon that can achieve some milestones at level, please be Espeon. Thank you, because that paralyzes yourself, and that also means that Dan Green, the one who's exploiting the Sun, is not paralyzed. That wouldn't have worked in Gen 6 and on, I think, because electric types became immune to... Was it Gen 5 they became... No, it was Gen 6 where they became immune to paralysis. Anyway... Okay, good, that still hits. What I was saying was... Oh, okay, and I can't burn you because you're already statused. I forgot what I was talking about. Something to do with... Electivire... Wild Charge... I've forgotten, but, anyway. I guess we can add 1 to the number of girls who've hit on West so far. And she vanishes entirely before Wes can, like... Actually, wait, no, Wes probably shouldn't get her number because then Misty Jr. would get angry. Anyway, let's get our battle coupon. Poker coupons, whatever. That's an okay amount. It'll get much higher in the later areas. Yeah, the amount of poker coupons you get from the last areas are vastly higher than in story mode. Like, they're massive, especially if you don't use legendaries. But, yep, that is Area 4 down. We've made some headway into the volcano, so next time will be Area 5, which will be the halfway point of Mount Battle. And probably the point where things actually start getting interesting.